Solve 3z squared minus 10z equals 1 by using quadratic formula. Part A, give the exact solution separated by comma, and part B, give the approximate solutions. All right, so first of all, let's get some scratch paper here. So I've got the equation 3z squared minus 10z equals 1. And here's the quadratic formula. If you have the equation in the form ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0, where a, b, and c are just whatever the numbers are, then the solution can be calculated with this formula, negative b, or opposite of b, plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. Okay, so the first thing is you have to make sure your equation is in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. This equation is not in that form because it's not equal to 0, it's equal to 1. But that's a pretty easy fix. Just move the 1 to the other side. Just subtract 1 from both sides. And then I get 3z squared. And in the quadratic formula, it says x, but that's just a variable. The letter doesn't matter. So 3z squared minus 10z minus 1 equals to 0. So now my a is a 3, my b is a negative 10, and my c is a negative 1. And then from here, I just plug the numbers into the quadratic formula. So I've got negative b becomes negative of a negative 10. So it's two negatives because b already is a negative number, and then I've got the negative from the formula right there. So it's a negative of a negative 10. Plus or minus square root b squared becomes negative 10 squared minus 4 times a, which is a is 3, times c, which is negative 1. I'll put those in parentheses so I know I'm not subtracting, I'm multiplying. Divided by 2 times a, which is 2 times 3. Okay, now, after plugging in the numbers, now it's just a matter of just doing the arithmetic. So, first of all, negative of negative 10 is positive 10, plus minus. Negative 10 squared. I've got a negative times negative is positive, so negative 10 times negative 10 is positive 100. So I've got square root 100. Now, think of this as a negative 4. So negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Times negative 1 is positive 12. So plus 12. I've got two negatives, the negative 4 and the negative 1. When it all gets multiplied, it becomes positive. And then 2 times 3 is 6. So let's draw a line, write 6. Okay, back to the square root. 100 plus 12 is 112. All right, so 10 plus or minus square root 112 divided by 6. All right, now at this point, without a calculator, I'm kind of stuck because 112 is not a perfect square. If this had been a perfect square, I would just take the square root and keep going. But actually, let's do the part B first. Let's get the approximate solution. So let's get a calculator and take the square root of 112. So any old calculator with the square root button will be fine. On some calculators, you have to type the 112 first and then hit the square root sign. Other calculators, square root sign and then the 112. On this calculator, you type the 112 and then you hit square root right there. Okay, so it's about 10.583005. The digits go on and on. Usually, in the question, it says round to 2 digits after the decimal point. So there's more calculations to do. So maybe 4 or 5 digits, just to be safe for now. So let's just do 10.583005. All right, so I've got 10 plus or minus, oh, I forgot already. What was it? 10.583005. Okay, divided by 6. So that's an approximate solution to the square root of 112. Let me just make sure I got that copied right, just to be safe. So 10.583005. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so now this is two different answers. This is 10 plus 10.58, which would be 20.583005 divided by 6. And then let's just do that on our calculator. Got to divide by 6. So I've got my 10.583. I'll just add 10 to that. Okay, I've got 20.583005, etc., etc. divide that by 6. Divide by 6. Okay, now I've got 3.4305, etc., etc. 3.4305. Yeah, 4305. Okay, now that's one of my answers. And the direction said round off to 2 digits. So there's the cutoff. The next number over is less than 5. So you just round this to 3.43. Okay, for the other answer, we've got 10 minus 10.583 and divide that by 6. So let me just make, so 10 minus 10.583005 is negative 0.583. I didn't really need a calculator for that, but I do for the divide by 6 part. So divide by 6, and I get negative 0.097, and I'll round that off. So first of all, when I subtracted, I had negative 0.583005 divided by 6, and the answer was negative 0. What was it again? 097, and round 2 digits, and so that would be 0.09. The next digit over is 5 or more, so round up to negative 0.10. Okay, so those are my 2 solutions in decimal form. So let's enter those in. So 3.43. Here we go. All right, so right here for part B, 3.43, and then comma. You always need a comma in between, and then it was negative 0.10. Anytime you have 2 different solutions, you have to put a comma in between the 2 solutions. All right, now back to part A. So part A says give the answer in exact form. So in other words, keep the square root. So back to this. So this is as simplified as I need to get right there. So square root of 112 is not exactly 10.583. It's approximately 10.583. So anytime the computer system says exact form, you can just type it in square root form. And so it's 2 solutions. For the computer, here's how you enter it in. So first of all, parentheses, 10 plus, and then for the square root symbol, there's no square root symbol on the keyboard on a computer. So SQRT is the abbreviation for square root, and then parentheses, 112, and then closing parentheses, because we have to tell the computer, I add the 10 plus the square root before I divide by 6, so that has to go in parentheses, and then divide by 6. Okay, and so that's the first part, and then type in the same thing, but with a minus. So 10 minus square root 112, close parentheses there, and divide that by 6. All right, so let's just type that in right there. So parentheses, let me zoom in this a little bit more so you can see this a little more clearly. So 10 plus square root 112, and then another parentheses, and then divided by 6. Now notice that on the side, when you type something in, the computer displays how it interprets it. So it's interpreting it correctly, 10 plus square root 112 divided by 6, and then comma, and then 10 minus square root of 112, parentheses, divided by 6. All right. Now let's check, make sure we got the right answer here. So let's click submit. All right, and they both turned green, so we know we got them correct.